welcome to Knowledge Hub. I hope you all are doing well. In today's video, we will learn about the .NET framework, what are the major components of the framework, framework architecture, and take a look on the history of the framework. So let's start the video and learn the topic in more details. So according to the Microsoft, the .NET framework is a runtime execution environment that manage the app which target the .NET framework. So it consists of common language runtime, that is known as CLR, which provides memory management, other system services. It provides an extensive class library which enables programmer to take advantage of robust, reliable code for all the major areas of app development. So in short, we can say that it is an environment which helps to develop, design and deploy the application. Now we have the major components in .NET framework. So there are two components, common language runtime and framework class library. So what is common language runtime? So it is a runtime environment in which all the .NET application can execute. It manages memory, threads, code execution, code verification, etc. CLR further divided into two parts: common language specification and common type system. Common language specification, so it is a set of specification that each language should meet to qualify as a .NET compliant language. So what does it mean? It simply dictates that whenever a new language introduced in .NET framework, it should follow some rules or specification to become a part of .NET framework. I hope it clears the topic. So next is CTS, common type system. Common type system defines the standard type that intermediate language can understand. So this makes possible for two languages to communicate with each other. So as we know that in .NET framework we have multiple languages like C#, F#, VB.NET, etc. So if we want, two languages can communicate with each other, that can only be possible with the help of CTS. For example, in C# we have int data type, and in VB.NET we have integer data type. So if we want these two languages can communicate with each other, in that case we can use CTS type, that is int32. Next we have framework class library. So it contains thousands of classes and interfaces that are used for common functions like string manipulation, input output operations, data access, reflection, etc. So it is a huge library that helps a lot to build a .NET application. We will learn more about the library in our upcoming videos. So next we have framework architecture. So as you can see in the framework architecture, we have multiple components that work together to run an application. As we know that .NET framework support multiple languages like C#, F#, VB.NET and many more. Each language has their own compiler which convert the source code into Microsoft Intermediate Language, also known as Common Intermediate Language. Once the MSIL generated, the CLR converts the MSIL into machine code so that system can understand and execute the code. There are some other components like JIT compiler and assembly that play important role in code execution. On next slide we will see some information about these components. So what is JIT compiler? Just-in-time compiler compiles the MSIL code into machine understandable form so that the .NET application code runs easily on the machine. It consists of two types, standard JIT compiler and EconoJIT compiler. The only difference between standard JIT and the EconoJIT compiler is the fast compilation. So the EconoJIT compiler compiles faster than the standard JIT compiler, but the code it produces is not as optimized as the code obtained from the standard JIT compiler. So next we have assemblies. Assemblies are chunk of precompiled code that can be executed by the .NET runtime environment. So when you compile an application, the MSIL code created is stored in assembly. So assemblies include both executable application files that you can run directly from Windows without the need for any other program. So these files are basically have .exe extension, and the other we have that is libraries which we can use inside the another application. So these libraries have extension .dll. So DLL stands for dynamic link library. So in addition to containing MSIL, assemblies also include meta information, that is information about the information contained in the assembly, also known as metadata, and the optional resources like the data used in MSIL such as sound files and the picture. The meta information enable the assembly to be fully self-descriptive. Now we have different types of assembly as well. So there are three types: private, public and satellite assembly. Private assembly, the DLL or exe file which is only the property of one application, that is simply referred to as a private assembly. So it is generally stored in the application root folder. The second one is public or shared assembly. It is a DLL which can be used by multiple applications at a time. A shared assembly is stored in GAC, that is Global Assembly Cache location. So in your system, if you go to the particular path like C, inside your C drive, then Windows folder, then assembly folder, here you can find the public assemblies of all the softwares installed in your PC. So next we have the satellite assembly. Satellite assembly contains only static objects like images and the other known executable files required by the application. Now in the next slide we have the version history of the .NET framework. So here in the table which include the version release date along with the Visual Studio IDE, that is integrated development environment. The first version 1.0 was released on year 2002. Later on, Microsoft updated its version by fixing bugs and included new features inside the framework. Now the current version is 4.8 and this was released on year 2019. So what we have covered so far, we learn about what is .NET framework, major components in framework, that is CLR and FCL, framework architecture, assemblies and JIT compiler, types of assemblies and version history. It completes the .NET framework topic. So in our next video we will learn about the C# and history of C#. So that's it in this video. Thank you for listening.